1 Samuel chapter 11. So, Nahash the Ammonite cruised in and camped out around Jabesh Gilead. And all the dudes from Jabesh were like, "Yo bro, let's make a deal, we'll totally serve you if you don't crush us." But Nahash was a savage and goes, "Only if I get to gouge out every one of your right eyes. That's the price bro, to shame all of Israel." The elders of Jabesh were like, "Okay, but give us 7 days to call our people, and if no one saves us we'll just, surrender and stuff." So messengers zip over to Gibeah where Saul lives and spill the tea. Everyone hears it and starts bawling. Then Saul rolls in from plowing his field like, "Whoa dudes, what's with the crying vibes?" So they tell him the drama from Jabesh. And boom, the Spirit of God hit Saul like a tidal wave and he was super fired up mad. He straight up chops his oxen into pieces, gnarly, sends chunks all over Israel with a message, "If you don't show up for me and Samuel, your cows are next." Everyone freaks out and rallies hardcore. Saul counts heads at Bezek, 300,000 Israelites and 30,000 from Judah. Major turnout. Then they tell the messengers, "Go tell Jabesh, by tomorrow when it's hot and sunny, help's totally on the way." The dudes from Jabesh are stoked. So the guys from Jabesh send back to Nahash cool, we'll totally surrender tomorrow, do what you gotta do. But surprise. Next morning Saul splits the army into 3 squads. They ambush the Ammonites at dawn and just wreck him till midday. The leftovers were so scattered, not even 2 bros were left hanging together. After the dust settles, the people go, "Hey Samuel, remember those guys who were like, is Saul really our king? Let's off them." But Saul, being chill and noble, says, "No way dudes. No one's dying today. God just dropped a massive win on Israel." Samuel goes, "All right crew, let's roll to Gilgal and make this kingship thing official." So everyone heads to Gilgal, makes Saul king for real before the Lord, sacrifices some peace offerings and has a total rager, joy overload for all of Israel. 1 Samuel chapter 12. And Samuel was like, "Okay fam, I totally listened to you guys and gave you a king, just like you asked. Now check it, he's your king walking right there in front of you. And me? I'm old now with silver surf vibes in my hair. My sons are still here too, and I've been riding this wave with y'all since I was a grom. So here I am, lay it on me, did I jack anyone's ox? Snag somebody's donkey? Cheat ya? Push you around? Take bribes to look the other way? If I did, I'll totally pay it back." And they were like, "No way bro. You never scammed us, bullied us, or took anything shady." And Samuel goes, "The Lord sees this and so does your king. Y'all just said I've been chill and clean. Right?" And they were like, "Totally dude." Then Samuel was like, "Okay peeps, let's not forget, it was the Lord who made Moses and Aaron the leaders and got your ancestors out of Egypt. So now stand still and listen up while I give you a refresher on all the righteous stuff the Lord has done for you and your fam. When Jacob and his crew were in Egypt and everyone started crying out to the Lord, he sent Moses and Aaron to bust him out and bring him here to chill in this land. But then you all ghosted God. So he let you get owned by Sisera from Hazor, the Philistines, and even the king of Moab. They came at you hard. That's when you were like, we messed up bad. We ditched God and followed Baalim and Ashtaroth. But please save us from our enemies and we'll totally serve you. So the Lord sent Jerubbaal, Bedan, Jephthah, and even me, Samuel, to totally save your butts from every side. And you lived safe and sound, no cap. But when you saw Nahash, the king of the Ammonites, pulling up to fight, you were like, nope, we want a human king now. Even though the Lord your God was already the ultimate king. So check it, here's your king, the one you were all vibing for. And yep, the Lord totally hooked you up with one. Now if you seriously respect the Lord and serve him and listen up when he speaks, and don't be rebels, then you and your king can totally cruise with the Lord forever. But if you're nah, and ditch his voice and break his commandments, then the Lord's hand is gonna come down hard, like he did on your ancestors. Total wipeout warning. So, everybody stand still and get ready for a major heavenly show. The Lord's about to go full thunder mode right in front of your eyes. I mean, it's wheat harvest time, right? Not exactly storm season. But I'm gonna call out to the Lord and he's gonna send thunder and rain just to show how gnarly it was to ask for a king like that. Then Samuel shouted up to the Lord and bim, there was thunder and rain big time. And the whole crowd freaked out. They were totally shook by the Lord and by Samuel. And everyone was like, dude, Samuel, please pray to your God for us. We don't want to die. We seriously messed up. Asking for a king was so not cool. And Samuel was like, chill, don't freak. Yeah, you did mess up big time. But don't ditch the Lord now. Just stick close to him and serve him with your whole heart. Don't go chasing fake stuff. It's all fluff and no rescue. Totally useless. The Lord's not gonna ghost you, 'cause he's got a rep to protect and he picked you as his people. He's in it for the long ride. And as for me, no way am I ditching you or skipping out on praying for you. That'd be like Sin City. I'll keep showing you what's good and totally righteous. Just remember to respect the Lord for real. Serve him sincerely with all your heart. Think of all the epic stuff he's done for you, so much wow. But if you still want to be wicked little beach gremlins, you and your king, you're gonna get wrecked. 1 Samuel chapter 13. Saul was king for a hot minute, then boom, 2 years in, stuff gets wild. He picked 3,000 dudes, 2,000 hung with Saul at Michmash, and 1,000 chilled with Jonathan at Gibeah. The rest? Sent home to crash. Jonathan totally wrecked a Philistine garrison at Geba, and the word spread fast. Saul blasted the news trumpet. Let the Hebrews hear this epic update. All of Israel caught the vibe. Saul toasted the Philistines and now, the Philistines totally hate them. Squad assembled at Gilgal. The Philistines pulled up with 30,000 chariots, 6,000 horse bros, and a massive crowd, beach sand level crowd. They camped near Michmash, east of Bethaven. When the Israelites saw they were totally toast, they freaked and hid in caves, thickets, rocks, towers, basically any hidey hole. Some Hebrews dipped across the Jordan. Saul was still at Gilgal with a shaky crew. He waited 7 days like Samuel said, but dude didn't show. People started bailing. So Saul was like, ugh, fine, bring me the burnt offering and peace vibes. And he did it himself. Right when he finished grilling the offering, boom, Samuel shows. Saul's like, hey, what's up, prophet bro? Samuel's like, dude, what did you do? Saul goes, okay, the squad was ghosting me, you were late and the Philistines were totally prepping for battle. So I thought I better do something or we're toast. So yeah, I sacrificed. I forced myself, okay? Samuel, bro, bad move. You didn't follow the Lord's exact vibes. If you had, your throne would have been eternal. But now, sorry man. God's picking someone with major heart vibes to lead. You're out. Then Samuel pieced out to Gibeah. Saul counted who was left. Total head count? Just 600 bros. So Saul and Jonathan stayed at Gibeah, while the Philistines stayed posted at Michmash. 3 raiding squads rolled out of the Philistine camp. One went toward Ophrah and Shul, another toward Betharon, and the last one toward Zeboim near the wildlands. And no one in Israel had a blacksmith, 'cause the Philistines were no swords for you Hebrews. So everyone had to visit Philistine metal shops to sharpen their plows and axes. Yeah, even their pitchforks and ox goads, everything had to be filed there. So on battle day, no swords or spears for the Israelites, except Saul and Jonathan had the goods. Meanwhile, the Philistine garrison staked out the pass at Michmash, total boss mode. 1 Samuel chapter 14. So one day Jonathan, he's Saul's kid, was all, hey dude, let's cruise over to that gnarly Philistine base on the other side. But he didn't tell his dad or anything. Meanwhile, Saul was chillin' way out at the edge of Gibeah, under a totally shady pomegranate tree in Migron, with 600 of his bros. And this priest guy, Ahiah, descendant of Eli's fam, was hanging there too, rockin' an ephod. Nobody had a clue Jonathan bailed. Now between the place Jonathan was trying to cross, there were 2 super sketchy cliffs, one called Bozez and the other Sene. One cliff was all dramatic facing north toward Michmash, and the other was facing south toward Gibeah. Total rocky drama. Jonathan looked at his armor bro and was like, yo, let's totally go over to those uncircumcised dudes. Maybe the Lord's down to save us. Doesn't matter if we're a lot or like just us two. And the armor dude was like, bro, follow your heart. I'm ride or die with whatever you decide. Then Jonathan was all right, here's the plan. We'll go over there and like make ourselves totally obvious. If they're like, hang tight bros, we're coming down, then we're not moving a muscle. But if they're like, come at us bro, then we're totally going up there, cause that's our sign from God that he's handing them over. So they popped out from their hiding spot and the Philistines were all, whoa, look who just crawled out of their hidey holes. Then the Philistines were like, come on up here bros, we want to show you something. And Jonathan said, let's climb dude, God's handing them to us. So like Jonathan scrambled up like a mountain goat, hands and feet, armor bro right behind. And boom, he started dropping dudes left and right and his bro was finishing the job. In that first mini smackdown they took out like 20 Philistines, on just a tiny little patch of land like what a couple of oxen would plow. Then the whole enemy camp started freaking out like major panic vibes, even the earth was quaking. Super intense God move. Saul's lookout dudes in Gibeah were like, dude, check it out. The Philistine crew is totally melting down, they're going full chaos mode. So Saul's all, yo, take a head count, let's see who bailed. And when they checked, boom, Jonathan and his armor bro were MIA. So Saul was like, yo Ahiah, grab the Ark of God bro. Cause back then the Ark was chillin' with the Israelites. But while Saul was still chatting with the priest, the Philistine party just got louder and wilder. Saul's like, never mind man, pull your hand back. So Saul and the whole squad rolled out to the fight. And whoa, total chaos. Brothers were turning on bros with their swords. It was like major meltdown mode. Even the Hebrews who were vibing with the Philistines before all this flipped sides and joined Team Saul and Jonathan. And all the Israelites hiding in the hills were like, no way. The Philistines are bailing, let's bounce. So they jumped in the fight too. Major shout out, the Lord totally saved Israel that day. The battle raged all the way to Bethaven. But the Israelites were hurting, cause Saul made them swear an oath. Cursed be anyone who grabs a snack before I get revenge on my enemies. So yeah, nobody ate anything. Then they walked into a forest and like honey was legit oozing from everywhere. But nobody touched it, cause they were freaked out by the oath. Jonathan though, he didn't hear the whole no snack rule. So he dipped his stick in a honeycomb, had a taste, and boom, eyes lit up, energy unlocked. Someone was like, dude, your dad totally cursed anyone who eats today and now everyone's wiped out. And Jonathan goes, ugh, my dad's rule was such a buzzkill. Look at me, just a taste of honey and I'm feeling way better. Imagine how epic the battle would have been if everyone had eaten some of that loot. We could have crushed way harder. They fought from Michmash to Aijalon. The crew was totally gassed. Then the people straight up raided the spoils, sheep, cows, calves, and ate them raw, like with the blood still in them. Not cool. Somebody told Saul, yo, the people are totally sinning, they're eating bloody meat. Saul's like, that's not righteous. Bring me a giant rock, essay. Then Saul goes, tell everyone, bring your livestock here and do the barbecue thing right so we don't sin, okay? So they grilled their meat that night, no more bloody bites. And Saul was like, time to build my first altar to the Lord, dudes. Then he said, let's raid the Philistines all night, no survivors. And the people were like, totally your call, dude. But the priest was like, let's ask God first. Saul prayed, should I go after the Philistines? Will you hand them over? But crickets, no answer from God. So Saul gathered the big shots and said, all right peeps, let's find out who blew it today. Even if it's my own kid Jonathan, he's toast. Swear on it. But nobody said a word. So Saul was like, okay, all Israel on one side, me and Jonathan on the other. And the people said, do what you gotta do, bro. Then Saul prayed, Lord, show us the truth. And boom, Saul and Jonathan got picked. Everyone else was safe. Saul said, okay, time to cast lots, me or my son? And bam, Jonathan got chosen. So Saul was like, spill it, John. What did you do? And Jonathan goes, Okay, like I only dipped my stick in some honey and had a taste and now apparently I'm totally doomed. Saul replied, bro, may God double down on me if you don't die for this. You're definitely gonna die. But the people were like, wait, what? Jonathan's gonna die? He just totally saved Israel. No way, dude. As long as the Lord is alive, not a single hair is falling off that guy's head. He was totally vibing with God today. So, like, the crowd straight up rescued Jonathan and he didn't die. Then Saul called it off and peaced out from chasing the Philistines. And the Philistines were like, later dudes, and went back to their turf. Saul fully took charge of Israel and got in battles on all sides, against Moab, Ammon, Edom, the Zobah crew, and of course the Philistines. Wherever he turned, he stirred up major drama. He rallied his warriors and totally wrecked the Amalekites, saving Israel from those who were, like, totally plundering them. Saul's sons were Jonathan, the hero, Ishui, and Melchishua. His daughters? Merab was the firstborn and Michal was the baby girl. His wife's name was Ahinoam, daughter of Ahimaaz. The general of his army? That was Abner, his uncle's son. Just to be clear, Kish equals Saul's dad. Na equals Abner's dad. Both were sons of Abel, so it's like a total family army vibe. The Philistine beef was relentless all Saul's days. And whenever Saul saw a guy who was strong or like super brave, he was like, yo, you're coming with me, bro. 1 Samuel chapter 15. Samuel was like, dude, the Lord totally sent me to pour oil on your head and make you king, so like, listen up, okay? Here's the deal, straight from the Lord of heavenly armies. I totes remember what Amalek did to Israel when they ambushed them coming out of Egypt. So now, like, go full beast mode, wipe them out. I mean everyone, men, women, babies, even the livestock, oxen, sheep, camels, donkeys. All of it, gone. So Saul got the squad together in Telaim, like 200,000 foot soldiers and another 10K from Judah. Then he rolls up to the Amalek city and sets up shop in the valley. Saul told the Kenite, yo, you guys were chill to Israel when they came out of Egypt, so like, get out of here before we go nuclear. Then he wrecked the Amalekites from Havilah to Shur, near Egypt. He captured King Agag alive but totally annihilated the rest. But Saul and his crew were like, let's not kill the best sheep and oxen. They're kinda awesome. So they spared the primo animals and only destroyed the lame ones. Then the Lord hit up Samuel and was like, dude, I seriously regret making Saul king. He bailed on me and didn't do what I said. Samuel was super bummed and cried to God all night. Early the next morning, Samuel hears Saul's been flexing in Carmel, setting up monuments and then dipping out to Gilgal. When Samuel found Saul, Saul was like, yo, blessings and good vibes from the Lord. Mission totally accomplished. Samuel was like, okay then, why do I hear sheep bleating and cows mooing? What's up with that? Saul said, oh those? Yeah, the squad brought the best stuff back from Amalek to make a sweet sacrifice to the Lord your God. The rest? We like totally torched it. Samuel cut him off. Hold up. I gotta tell you what the Lord said to me last night. Saul said, lay it on me. Samuel said, back when you were a nobody, didn't God make you the big boss of Israel? He sent you on this epic quest and said, annihilate those Amalekite sinners until they're dust. So, like, why didn't you do it? Why'd you go full pirate and loot the stuff? That was so not cool in the Lord's eyes. Saul was like, no, I totally obeyed. I went where God said, brought back King Agag and wiped out the Amalekites. For real. But like, the people took the best sheep and oxen from the whole Amalek haul, the primo stuff that should have been trashed, so we could totally offer it as, like, a gnarly sacrifice to the Lord at Gilgal. Samuel was like, okay, but does the Lord get stoked on burnt offerings and sacrifices more than just, like, listening to him? Obedience, my dude, is way more rad than sacrifices. Tuning into God is better than tossing fat rams on the fire. Rebelling is basically like casting wicked spells and being stubborn. That's like worshiping idols and doing straight up shady stuff. Since you ditched the Lord's word, he's like totally ghosting you as king. Saul was like, I totally messed up. I broke the Lord's command and didn't listen to you, cause like I was scared of the squad and I caved to their pressure. So please forgive me and come back with me so I can worship the Lord and fix this bad vibe. Samuel said, no can do, bro. You blew off the Lord's word, and now he's totally dropped you as king. And as Samuel turned to leave, Saul grabbed his cloak, and whoops, totally ripped it. Samuel turned back and was like, dude, just like you tore my threats, the Lord has straight up torn the kingdom from you today and handed it off to someone way cooler. And FY, the Lord, like the ultimate strength of Israel, doesn't lie or change his mind. He's not some wishy-washy human. Saul was like, okay, I've sinned, I get it. But can you, still make me look good in front of my people and the elders? Come back with me so I can worship the Lord. So Samuel was like, fine, and went back with him, and Saul did the whole worship thing. Then Samuel said, yo, bring Agag over here. And Agag showed up all careful and said, for sure, dude, the bad vibes of death have totally passed, right? Samuel goes, your sword made a lot of moms super sad, so now your mom's gonna feel that too. Then, bam, Samuel chopped Agag to pieces right there in front of the Lord at Gilgal. Brutal. After that, Samuel cruised back to Ramah and Saul headed to his pad in Gibeah. Samuel never saw Saul again till the day he died, but he totally mourned him. And the Lord? Yeah. He regretted ever making Saul king over Israel. 1 Samuel chapter 16. And the Lord was like, yo Samuel, how long are you gonna be all mopey about Saul? I already ghosted him as king. So grab your oil horn, bro, and bounce to Jesse's place in Bethlehem. I've got a new king picked from his sons. And Samuel was like, if Saul hears I'm doing that, he'll totally murder me. And the Lord said, no worries, just take a cow and say, I'm here to toss a sacrifice party for the Lord. Invite Jesse to the barbecue and I'll show you what's up. Anoint the dude I tell you about. So Samuel cruised to Bethlehem just like God said. The town elders were low-key freaking and were like, are you here in peace, bro? And he was like, yeah, chill, I'm just here to do a sacrifice. Get yourselves cleaned up and roll with me. Then he made Jesse and his sons holy too. When they showed up, Samuel scoped Eliab and was like, oh yeah, for sure this guy's the chosen one. But the Lord was like, dude, don't trip on his looks or his tall vibes, I've passed him over. Humans are all about appearances, but I'm all heart, man. Then Jesse brought up Abinadab, but Samuel said, nope, not him either. Then came Shammah. And Samuel again was like, hard pass. Jesse ran 7 of his sons past Samuel, but he just shook his head like, nah bro, none of these are it. Samuel asked, you got any more kids? Jesse was like, well yeah, the youngest is out chillin' with the sheep. Samuel said, send for him, stat, we're not sitting until he shows. So they brought him in and he had this sun-kissed look and was super easy on the eyes. And the Lord said, that's the one, bro, rise up and anoint him. So Samuel busted out the oil and anointed David right there with all his bros watching. And boom, the Spirit of the Lord came on David hard from that day forward. Then Samuel bounced back to Ramah. Meanwhile, the Lord's Spirit peaced out from Saul, and a gnarly bad spirit came to bug him out. Saul's crew was like, bro, there's a serious dark vibe on you from God. You should totally let us find a dude who shreds on the harp. When the bad spirit hits, he can jam out and mellow you back down. And Saul was like, yeah, find someone with major harp skills and bring him here pronto. One servant chimed in, I know a dude, David, son of Jesse from Bethlehem. He rips on the harp, he's a total warrior, super wise, pretty cute too, and, bonus, the Lord is totally with him. So Saul sent a DM to Jesse like, send me your son David, the sheep guy. Jesse packed up a donkey with some bread, wine, and a goat and sent it all with David to Saul. David came and posted up with Saul, and Saul was like, whoa, I dig this kid, and made him his gear guy. Saul texted Jesse again like, let David stick around please, he totally vibes with me. And whenever that bad spirit showed up, David would break out the harp and jam, and Saul would chill out, feel better, and the evil spirit would totally bail. 1 Samuel chapter 17. So the Philistines pulled their squads together for a showdown at Shocho in Judah, and pitched camp between Shocho and Azekah at this gnarly spot called Ephes Dammim. Saul and the Israelites set up their base camp across the way near the valley of Elah, ready to throw down. So basically it's like this. The Philistines were chillin' on one mountain, the Israelites were on another, and there was this epic valley between them. Then, bam, this total beast of a dude strolls out from the Philistine camp. His name? Goliath from Gath. Bro was like 9 feet tall, no joke. He had a brass helmet on his dome, was rockin' heavy-duty chainmail, and that thing alone weighed like 125 pounds of bronze. Total tank. His legs were armored up too, and he had a shiny bronze target strapped on his back. His spear was like legit the size of a weaver's beam, and the iron tip was heavy enough to knock out a rhino, like 15 pounds of metal. Oh, and he had a hype guy walking in front of him holding his shield. Then this massive dude steps up and yells at the Israelite squad, "Why are you even lining up to fight? Like, I'm the Philistine here and y'all are just Saul's crew. Send out one guy to brawl with me. If he beats me, fine, we'll be your servants. But if I smash him, you guys are totally our slaves. Fair enough, bros? I'm throwing down the gauntlet, Israel. Send me your best shot. Let's do this mano a mano." When Saul and the whole crew heard Goliath's challenge, they were straight up shook, like trembling in their tunics. So now let's talk about David. He was the son of Jesse, that old dude from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons and was pretty well known back in Saul's day. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had rolled out to fight with Saul. Their names? Eliab, firstborn, then Abinadab, then Shammah. David was the baby bro. While the 3 eldest were out on the battlefield, David wasn't exactly frontline material yet. He'd been bouncing back and forth between playing tunes for Saul and watching his dad's sheep back home in Bethlehem. Meanwhile, Goliath came out every morning and evening, strutting his stuff and throwing shade for 40 straight days. Non-stop drama. Then Jesse was like, "Hey David, grab some roasted grain and 10 loaves of bread, and run this snack pack to your bros at the front lines. Also take these 10 cheese blocks to their commander. Check on your brothers, see how they're vibing, and bring back some kind of proof they're okay." So Saul and all the Israelite dudes were camped out in the valley of Elah, mid-face-off with the Philistines. David got up super early, left the sheep with a sitter, grabbed the goods and rolled out, just like Jesse told him. He hit the battle zone right as the troops were gearing up and shouting their war cries. The Israelites and the Philistines were like totally lined up army style, squad against squad, ready for a gnarly throwdown. David handed off his gear to the supply dude and sprinted into the crowd to find his bros and give them a big, "Hey." While he was chatting, boom, here comes Goliath again, that giant mega dude from Gath, strutting out and shouting the same smack as always. David was like, "Whoa, did I just hear that? All the Israeli dudes?" They saw Goliath and straight up bailed, freaked out hard. They were whispering, "Dude, have you seen that monster? He's totally here to trash talk us. But whoever takes him down gets a massive payday, the king's daughter, and a no-tax pass for his fam major win." And David was like, "Wait, what happens for the guy who knocks out this uncircumcised beast and stops him from trashing the armies of the living God? Who even is this punk?" And the people were like, "Bro, we just told you, whoever defeats him gets the full royal hookup." Then David's older bro Eliab overheard and got totally salty. "Why are you even here, Dave? Who's watching your baby sheep crew? I know you're just being nosy and full of yourself." David was like, "What? What did I even do? I'm just asking a legit question." Then he turned to someone else and asked the same thing, and they gave the same answer "Yeah bro, big reward if you take the guy out." Word got out that David was hyped to take on Goliath, and someone spilled to Saul, so the king called for him. David walked in "No one needs to freak out. I got this, your boy here will throw down with the Philistine." But Saul was like, "No offense kid, but you're just a grom and that guy's been surfing war waves since forever." David goes, "Nah, listen, when I was watching my dad's sheep, a lion and a bear tried to snag one, and I totally chased him down. I took that lamb right out of their jaws. And when they turned on me, I grabbed him by the beard, smacked him down, and boom, Denizo. I've taken out lions and bears, dude, and this uncircumcised giant is just another beast. He totally disrespected the armies of the living God. The same Lord who rescued me from those paws will rescue me from this guy too." And Saul was like, "All right man, go for it. May the Lord be totally with you." Then Saul tried to gear David up in full armor, helmet, chainmail, the whole 9 yards. David strapped on the sword, took a few steps and was like, "Dude, I can't roll like this. I haven't even tested this gear." So he ditched the armor. Instead, he grabbed his trusty shepherd's staff, picked 5 smooth rocks from the stream, stuffed them in his bag, slung his sling over his shoulder, and walked out to face the Philistine like a total legend. Goliath strutted forward too, with his shield dude walking in front like, "Let's go, little man." When Goliath got close and finally saw David, he was like, "Wait, what? This kid's like a cute little ginger? You send this guy to fight me?" And the Philistine was like, "Bro, am I some kinda gnarly mutt that you come at me with sticks?" Then he totally cursed David out using his bogus little gods. He added, "Come at me, tiny dude, and I'll toss your bod to the birds and wild beasts. Lunch is served." But David fired back, "You're rolling up with sword, spear and mega shield, but I'm coming at you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the big kahuna of the armies of Israel, the one you totally dissed. Today the Lord's gonna hand you over to me. I'm gonna whack you, chop off your head, and feed your whole crew to the scavenger squad so everyone knows God rules in Israel. And like, this whole crowd will realize that God doesn't save with weapons. 'Cause the fight belongs to him and he's gonna drop you right into our hands, dude." So Goliath rose up all intense, stomping toward David, and David didn't flinch. He bolted straight at him like, "Let's go." David reached into his bag, pulled out one smooth stone, slung it, and bam! Nailed Goliath right in the forehead. The rock sank in deep and the big dude face planted into the dirt. So, with just a sling and a stone, David totally owned the Philistine. Took him out, no sword needed. Then David ran over, stood on Goliath, yanked out his massive sword, and straight up finished the job. Hat off. When the Philistines saw their MVP was toast, they freaked and bailed hard. The Israelite and Judah crews let out a massive battle cry and chased those dudes all the way to the valley and up to Ekron's gates. The Philistine squad left a trail of wipeouts from Shaaraim to Gath and Ekron. After the chase, the Israelites circled back and looted the Philistine camps like it was a post-victory party. David grabbed Goliath's head and brought it to Jerusalem like, "Trophy time," but stashed the dude's gear in his tent. When King Saul saw David step up to face the giant, he turned to Abner, his top warrior bro, and was like, "Dude, who's that kid's dad?" And Abner went, "As sure as your soul's alive, O king, I got no clue." So the king was like, "Alright then, go find out whose kid that brave Grom is." Right as David cruised back from slaying Goliath, Abner brought him in to meet Saul, still holding the giant's head like a total boss. And Saul asked, "So, whose son are you, little dude?" David smiled and said, "I'm the son of your servant Jesse, from Bethlehem, bro." 1 Samuel chapter 18. So like, right after David finished chatting with King Saul, Jonathan's soul was like totally synced up with David's. It was like BFF vibes on a soul level, dude. Saul was all, "You're not going back home, bro," and just kept David with him from that day on. Then Jonathan and David made this rad pact, 'cause like, their bromance was next level. He loved him like he loved his own soul. Jonathan even took off his fancy royal robe and handed it to David, plus his gear. His sword, his bow, and even his belt, bro. David totally crushed it wherever Saul sent him. He was super wise and Saul was like, "You're now in charge of the troops." And all the people were stoked, like, "This dude rocks." So, like, when David came back from destroying that gnarly Philistine, all the ladies from every city were totally vibing out. Dancing, singing, banging on tambourines, full-on celebration mode for King Saul. They were all like, "Saul's taken down thousands but David slayed 10,000s. Like it was the original remix anthem of Israel. Saul was super ticked. He was like, "Wait, they're giving David 10,000s and I only get thousands? What's next?" Handing him the whole kingdom. From that moment on, Saul started throwing major side-eye at David. Like, constantly. The next day things got totally gnarly. This dark, gnarly spirit came over Saul. He was tripping hard in his house. David, chill as usual, played music for him. Meanwhile, Saul had a spear in his hand. And then, boom, Saul launched the spear yelling, "I'm gonna pin David to the wall." But David was slick and dodged it, twice. Dude had reflexes like a ninja. Saul started getting seriously spooked by David, cause he could totally tell the Lord was riding with David now, and totally not with him anymore. So Saul was like, "You're outta here," and bumped David to captain over 1,000 dudes. David still went in and out with the people like a total boss. And bro, David kept acting super smart in everything he did, and it was obvious the Lord had his back. And every time Saul saw how wise and chill David was, it just made him freak out even more. Like major insecure vibes. So, everybody in Israel and Judah was vibing with David, cause he kept showing up and totally crushing it out there. And Saul was like, "Yo David, check it, I've got this totally rad daughter Merab. You be all brave and gnarly for me, fight the Lord's battles and she's yours." But secretly Saul's thinking, if the Philistines take him out, I won't have to. And David was like, "Whoa, who even am I? I'm just some regular dude from a chill family. How am I supposed to marry into royalty?" But when it was actually time for Merab to marry David, she got hitched to this dude Adriel the Mahalathite instead. Total plot twist, bro. Meanwhile, Saul's other daughter Michal was totally crushing on David. When Saul heard that, he was like, "Sweet." And Saul schemed, "I'll hook them up so she can trip him up or something. The Philistines can do the dirty work." So he said, "Okay David, today's the day, you're gonna be my son-in-law with option B." Then Saul told his bros, "Yo, go whisper to David hey man, the king's into you and so are we. Time to be part of the royal fam, dude." They passed the message and David was like, "Wait, hold up, is it chill to marry into royalty when I'm just a poor no-status guy? Seriously?" The servants went back to Saul and told him all that David said. And Saul was like, "Alright, tell David this, no need for a fancy bride price. Just, bring me 100 Philistine foreskins so I can, get payback." But really, Saul was hoping David would get totally smoked in the process. But David heard that and was like, "Heck yeah, I'm down to be the king's son-in-law." So he didn't waste any time. David and his crew rolled out and took down 200 Philistines, double whammy, brought back all the receipts and laid them out before Saul. So Saul was like, "Well okay then," and gave Michal to David as his wife. Now Saul could totally see that the Lord was with David, and that Michal was head over heels for him. That made Saul even more freaked out. From then on, he was basically David's full-time hater. The Philistine rulers kept showing up to fight, but every time, David was more wise and awesome than all Saul's crew. Everyone was like, "Whoa, David's totally legendary, bro."